Hi once again, guys and gals. Today we're building another FJ Cruiser overland build with the drawers and storage and all that good stuff. This build, like most of my builds, are made with Baltic birch plywood. Super high quality. I would recommend everybody to use that over, any lesser grade stuff. There's no voids in it. It's super stable, holds a screw really well. So right now I'm just setting up my table saw extension that I built for that folds up to get out of the way when you're not using it. It works out pretty good. So right now we're cutting up the 3/4 inch for the box, the shell of the whole build. That's the 3 dividers. I'm just going to throw some pocket screws in that to get those ready. Decided to try out my new little 12-volt Milwaukee Surge impact driver. One's really quiet. That thing is awesome. Alright, now we're just laying out. Got a couple of cuts I want to do with the track saw. So I'm cutting the access doors for the top panel. Those will come into play later. You will see those. These cuts are pretty important because you use both pieces again. So one of the benefits is a little wavy line from your jigsaw will be perfectly matched by the wavy cut on the other mating piece. But you still now we're putting on the dividers that go in between the 2 drawers. This is one of the upgrades I did, or updates anyway, from the first video design. So now there's a single divider in the center, since I'm making it all in one piece as opposed to 2. Now putting on the bottom of the box, it is a thinner 1/2 inch to keep it as light as we can, but still structural. So could definitely have tried 1/4 inch, but I just want to make sure it had a strong enough structure to it. Just popping in a couple of finger holds for those doors that were cut out with the track saw in that first panel. We'll take a round over and just smooth out those little finger holds. You can see where they're sitting now. Sneak up on a measurement there for the divider. That'll be nice and tight. And now I'm just making some spacers to just use that to do my measuring for me. So that spacer, I'm going to use that on each side of that divider, so it ends up at exactly the same place on all four sides. Got that clamped in at the bottom. Now is your only chance to sand those, so better get that done. Same thing on the large side. We're currently working or looking at the end that faces the front of the FJ. So this is a little pocket for storage that you could access while you're in the front seat. Right now I'm just setting up the drawers, just making the all the boxes for the big drawers. Everybody's got their own methods. This one, I don't put in a dado blade, so I just have to make a couple passes on each spot to fit the 1/4 inch bottom and also to fit the sides and the front and back together. That light you see that came on over there is my indicator that my dust collector is on. So a lot of times it's so noisy you don't remember if it's on or off, so you can just see the light is on. So right now a little shoulder plane to clean up some of those rabbets on the sides to get everything to fit together right. I gave this a try for one of the first times really using my track saw track and then a little plunge router on it to do the dados for the dividers for the shelves, or for the drawers, I mean. Sand it now, don't forget. And I always try to vacuum and not sweep. Last time I checked, I've only got 2 lungs. I want to keep those for a while, so I always try to vacuum. This is just the dividers in those drawers. I'll call that an advanced move. If you have a long piece like that to cut it on your table saw sideways, just be sure you always hold it very, very tight to the fence. That is definitely a safety thing. Right now we've moved on to the pull-out tables. It's kind of a finger hold design similar to what I used before. So right now I'm just making a jig for the router to make those finger holds. To do it again, I would make those finger holds a little bit larger on the outsides. You can fit your fingers in okay, but if if it gets heavy or something like that, as long as you have something strong to hold on to, that's what you need. So there's no real penalty for making those holes a little bit larger. And now I'm just making the case of a storage shelf that's going to sit in the back. It's got a couple angles to fit the profile of the FJ, the side windows, and where it starts turning into the roof. So I cut both of those at the same time with that track saw, so they're identical. I'm putting a zero clearance fence so I can do the rabbets on the edge of that shelf where the back goes. That was the angle for the back of those shelves. And this is the top one. Now I've moved back to the drawer box. That's what we got going here. Check the square. Don't forget to clamp the middle. I have had in the past have them bowed in the center, and then it might be square, but it's kind of bulged out on the sides, and then things don't ever fit well. Back to the shelf, just throwing on some 1/4 inch for the back. That's a little tricky. Just make sure you put those narrow crown staples in the right spot. You don't want them blowing out into your work that you just put all that time into. Now we're doing a little metal work. Cutting up the hinges. These are the extensions that go up by the head. So cutting a quick rabbet on there to fit the hinges so they can sit nice and flush once you lift them up. Sorry about that light flickering. Must have been a cloudy day. That's the support for the center extension piece that you'll see later. So now I put a clamp on there on the level so that I know that I hold it out straight, so then I have it in place when I'm cutting these supports. Obviously the clamp works perfectly for that, to make it nice and straight. So this block is going to be a retainer for one of those supports. You see it right in the center there. So deciding where to put that little block, I think right in the center is best. So did both sides that way. Now moved on to that little center removable shelf. And for that, again, I'm using like cabinetry figure eights. They're very thick, like a very thick washer. Obviously in that shape, like a figure eight. So definitely not what they were intended for, but they work perfect for this. I'm using a spacer to put the 4-foot slides in. So I spaced the drawer slides up the thickness of the pull-out tables. If you happen to be copying something like this, use a little thicker spacer than I did. I used exactly 3/4 because I didn't want any play in that pull-out table, but it sometimes gets a little snug, so space those up a little bit farther. Now you can see how that table slides underneath. When you have slides back to back on a single 3/4, the holes line up with both sides, so you'll have your screws running into each other. So I had to drill new holes in one side of those slides. It's a little aluminum channel that is the support for those removable panels. That worked perfectly. Did a little spraying off camera right there for the parts that are going to get covered up. That was moisture resistant lacquer I was putting on there. Now after I sprayed, I have all the holes ready for those from before, so now you just get to reinstall those. I'm just throwing the bottom back on again. Seems so easy the second time with all the holes drilled and ready to go. moved on to the support brackets, the steel support brackets for the front of the box. It's kind of fun to get out of the wood zone for a minute and get back and do a little metalworking. These brackets fit onto the bolts that the rear seat used to be attached to. So once you remove your rear seat, the mounting bolts, that's where these connect to, and then fasten to the bottom of the box. For those playing at home, I think that was about a 30-degree bend. 29, 28, something. Some moisture up lacquer on the last of those parts. Start to see the light at the end of the tunnel here. So with the big slides like this, they're not removable like your typical residential cabinetry hinge. So you have to get all the screws in place. You can't pop the box back off of there to reach the inside one. So don't have many chances to put those in. There's a little protection on the front edge there. It's always good to put an aluminum channel over that, just to protect that end of the plywood. Dresses it up a bit too. This was a new one I tried with a dowel pin to hold the door on. Right now I put the dowel center in the hole right there to mark the lid, so that's where I know exactly where to drill these holes. Finish it off with the chisel. Now we're doing a little bit the old-fashioned way. Put the dado stack in my portable little table saw I take to job sites. Yes, it is fast. If you have the luxury of having two saws, then you can have one set up to do one job without messing up the other one. And there we go. Install days are always fast and furious, and it's put in. I did late cut in one more door in the front, so she has access to that front storage cubby. There's the back with the large shelves. And a little bit of late game change there, so you see that those shelves are currently sitting on top of the access doors. But I'm just doing a quick demonstration of pulling out tables. See how they work under the drawers. Those big 4-foot drawers store lots of stuff, so impressive for a size of an FJ. But one more successful FJ in the books. See you on the next one.